Okay, welcome back, dear viewers. I have a quick video for you to discuss a Lamentations of the Flame Princess game supplement I used recently in my Lamentations of Elemental Evil campaign. It's a day late, this video. Appreciate your patience. I had a monthly second edition game I was playing in with my old friends for, well, we've been gaming together for decades. But anyway, here we are with the random esoteric creature generator for classic fantasy role-playing games and their modern simulacra by James Edward Radge IV. Before I get into it, this is what my channel does. I play games, I record myself playing those games, and then I talk about the games. I have nothing against the flip through review, but I find that sometimes playing the game gets you a different experience than your reading of it, and I don't really get much out of the flip through review. So hopefully my channel educates you on what and where and how you should be spending your money, because I just want to know, is the game fun, right? So if that's something you like, please hit like and subscribe, the bell icon, and follow me for more. So what is the random esoteric creature generator? Well, it's exactly what it purports to be. It's a creature generator. That's pretty much it. But there is some cool essays in this 44-page book that I think is worth the read and gives you a deep dive, or at least a bit of a dive into James Radge's philosophical take on the role-playing game. If I understand the history correctly, this was originally self-published around 2008 and then published by Goodman Games, and now it's under the Lamentations banner. But for over the course of these 44 pages, you have a ton of random charts that allow you to create strange and unique creatures that are a bit more weird and horrific and are not the standard goblins, skeletons, bullywugs, etc., etc. So, I'm not going to go through, chart by chart. I'm just going to give it to you right here. You start with the body type. You move to the basic characteristics, the size, the movement, attack methods, distinctive features, special abilities, delivery of special attacks, combat tactics, and motivations. And I think the last two are kind of optional, frankly. But what's cool though is these charts are pretty exhaustive. So like for the general type and the body type, after you roll what it is, there's a series of charts to kind of give you a little bit more detail. So if it's avian, is it like a bat creature, a hummingbird creature, a vulture type creature? If it's a crustacean, is it a clam? Is it a horseshoe crab? Mammals, there's like 30 options for a D30 roll, so on and so forth. The distinctive features is a D100 roll, and I'll just read you some examples here. Let's see. Metal-like features. Creature's hide resembles a hard metal surface. It receives plus 1d4 plus 4 bonus to AC. So there is a basic stat block that you will be modifying as you are running through this these series of charts. The standard stat block, AC 12, one hit die, so on and so forth. And then it just gets modified as you roll through this. Another distinctive feature is shambling gait. The creature moves in a jerky, unpredictable manner. The creature's movement is decreased by 10 feet. The special abilities is a 2d100 roll, and I'll just read a few for your amusement here. Let's see. I like this one. Large damage attack. Creature has an attack which causes large amounts of damage, but which can only be used 3 times per day. The damage inflicted is equal to 1d6 for each hit die possessed by the creature. A character subject to this attack takes only half damage if he makes a saving throw. That sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? Let's see. Bonus damage on a great hit, 2d6. If the creature's main attack roll hits by 4 or more, or is a natural 20, the creature does an additional 2d6 damage in addition to normal damage. Let's see, another one. Drain, dexterity, random effect. Characters subject to this attack lose 1d6 points of dexterity. Roll for each attack with no saving throw. The lost points return at a rate of 1 per hour. So as you can see, there is a lot that can, I guess, happen as you're rolling through this random creature generator. There is just a whole host of things that you could create. The one that the party faced just this past Thursday it had a wolf-like head. It was quadruped, but it was sort of like a centaur body. It had like a devastating bite attack, did 2d12 points of damage, and rolled. It could charge, so it moved really fast. I think it had like a 24 movement rate or something like that. And you basically, I mean, you can use the formulas here, or you just roll or read through it and get some ideas. But that's it. I mean, that's pretty much the monster generator. This is where I think the book actually shines. Is the last section where it's putting it all together and how to run monsters, and this is sort of this philosophy that Lamentations really tries to hone in on in its products. Is that you need to know how to use monsters to make them effective. The number one here is kind of an obvious one, but more so because you're using a random esoteric creature generator rather than some standard creature from a bestiary or a monster manual or something. We kind of all know what goblins can do, right? Sharkman, in that image from a few slides ago, Sharkman, we don't know anything about Sharkman. So make sure you've done your research and you've read it and you have an idea. And that's where like the motivations and combat tactics can help as well. But then he provides other recommendations for running monsters that I think are very useful. The surprise roll in particular is, I think, the most effective one. And I'm going to actually probably start using this advice a little bit more. So if the players lose surprise, just start rolling the attacks, have them make their saves. Do everything before you start describing anything, because that'll settle in. It'll be very unsettling, and they'll quickly realize that something bad is happening. He also makes a recommendation that if players are going to start using summoning spells, be prepared. I put here Zarkov Kowalski's Going Through Forbidden Otherworlds as a good example. That's one of the first live actual plays of Lamentations ever did. It was for a podcast. Awesome adventure. I should probably do a video on it. But it's a short adventure, and it takes place in hell, and monsters are constantly summoned. So in my preparation for that game, I had 10 ready to go. So we weren't sitting at the table, waiting for me to, roll up something. Another example or a thing you can do to make monsters a little bit more scary and esoteric and strange and weird is just mix and match them. Describe a goblin, but have it act like, I don't know, like a dragonborn creature or something that could breathe fire. Just kind of swapping stats. I think that's kind of a classic tactic a lot of GMs will use to keep things interesting. But as a side note, on my own personal philosophy on this issue, there's nothing I don't like more I don't like it when the rule of cool, actually, I think I hate more. But DMs would just tell me 3 goblins attack you. How about we describe the goblins, make the goblins look a little bit more scary and fierce. And I'm guilty of this too. You're tired. It's been a long night of gaming, and you're just kind of like, okay, this is the last combat. 3 goblins jump out at you. But I think you serve immersion so much more if you do a little bit of describing of the creatures that are coming at your players. So use monsters only once. This is actually what you see in the referee's guide for Lamentations of the Flame Princess, and this gets expanded upon in that guide. The idea is the monster's supposed to be scary, weird, strange, The only time, if you're running a more high magic campaign, the only time you're going to be seeing monsters more than once is things that are magically created, something that's culturally related. An example of that would be, I've done some research into Native American folklore. So if you had a Native American type campaign, the players may be facing dry fingers. It's like this undead hand thing. They might face dry fingers more than once, right? Because it's cultural, right? And of course animals. But generally speaking, maybe just use your goblins once. Wouldn't that be interesting? Like, don't call them goblins. Just describe them. These weird creatures that are kidnapping children in the night, right? And the players have to go into their, goblin warren, but you're not calling it that. And then they never face these things again. And maybe there was almost a TPK in that warren. When the players refer back to that adventure, it's going to be like this really, you know, horrific, memorable experience. And kind of dovetailing off of that is the unnamed terror. You know, that's the don't go to the cliched named forest. The such and such hunts there. What is that? The unnamed terror. Then that and the players have to like figure out what it is. Then he has what he titles racism. I think he did that just to be a bit eye-catching, shocking, shock value. Because really, all he's doing is saying, don't make the magic too fantastic and prevalent all the time. Be mundane, and so when the fantastic happens, it's going to be more memorable, and that's why he recommends switching elves and dwarves to humans. But if you are going to run demi-humans, run them right, and I agree with this 100%. Make them alien. Make elves and dwarves and all that very different. Don't let your players act like they're doing some cosplay routine at a gaming convention. The elves in my homebrew world are straight dark fae. They're not to be trusted. I broke it down into 3 different Seelie courts, and that's what they do. And I thought the player who was running Kytho did a really nice job. We had some fun with that character. So, but yeah, make your demi-humans alien. So I don't know if that's really a racist thing to say, but again, it is what it is. So $64,000 question. Okay, it's 48 pages. I think I kept saying 44. $10 at Drive-Thru RPG for the PDF. For me, it's a no-brainer. I mean, you have a useful tool in your gaming arsenal for developing adventures and strange creatures, monsters, and things like that. I think also some of the effects that are in this book can also be used for traps. It's another one of those supplements that, if you have some outside the box sort of creative thinking with it, I mean, it can be used for other things too. Kind of like 6x6x6. I mean, that book is just filled with effects. So is this book. These are a little bit more mechanical than 6x6x6. So this might be a little bit more useful for you when developing strange creatures and traps and obstacles. But it's $10. It's a very, very, very useful tool, and I highly recommend you pick it up. So that's it. Like I said, quick video. I hope you liked it. Thank you for watching, and hit that like, subscribe, and bell icon. Yada yada yada, and I will see you guys later.